Today's video might not be terribly a lot done. I think I'm just going to try and get the heads off and have a look at the cylinders, clean them up. Maybe if there's rust in the bores, I can sand them out enough. Maybe try and get the pistons moving. So that's what I'm going to do today. And I just wanted to comment. I'm going to try and put up little better thumbnails. Usually I like to take a picture for a thumbnail instead of just, what they offer. I mean, there was a thumbnails of that nasty starter in the vise and this, and it just isn't appealing. I think when a lot of people look on the internet, they browse pictures, and if they see an interesting picture, then they might read the title, and if it sounds interesting to them, then they'll click on it. So I'm going to try and every thumbnail I'm going to try and either take a picture somewhere on the car of something, and like the last one, with that starter, I changed it to a picture of the taillight. So, I'll just take a picture, random picture of something on the car, and use that for the thumbnail. And maybe I'll even put in, my dad had a 66 Ford Country Sedan, white one with a blue interior, station wagon. So I'm going to get some photos of that, and I might even use some photos of that in future thumbnails too. But I think that, most people who browse the internet, including myself, it's the picture that catches your eye, whether you're going to watch the video or not. So that's why I'm going to try and do that. This sounds crazy, but a lot of the comments, I've had a lot of comments that I should leave the air conditioning in the car. Well, these vents are kind of floppy and the chrome's worn off the plastic, and you can get this plastic re-chromed, and I could get the system working again, but it would cost me probably more than what a modern vintage air unit would cost. So I'm just not going to fix the air conditioning, and I'm not going to buy vintage air because I guarantee I'll never use it. And so the next owner wants to put vintage air on it or do something with it, more power to them. But I think I'm just going to leave the air off. I'm going to take that off, take it out of the car, but I'm going to keep it. I was going to sell it on eBay. I've heard enough people say that I should leave this vintage stuff in the car. It's period correct. It was probably installed when the car was new. And I'm going to keep the compressor and all the other stuff, and I'll just box it all up, and the new owner of the car can have it, and if they want to have it reinstalled, they can, or they can not, put a vintage air unit on it, or not even have air conditioning. Like, that's my goal, is just not even put air on it. Because if it's that hot out, I can drive this, or that, or that, which is my dad's, but I got to run it back up to his house tomorrow, and so I don't really need AC in a convertible, because if it's sweltering, I don't need to take it out. If it's nice out, the top's going to be down, or if it's a little sunny and too uncomfortable to have the top down, I'll just drive it with the top up. It's still a convertible. It still has that. I like the look of convertibles with the top up. I think they look good with their top up. So I won't hesitate to drive it with the top up. I'm going to take some of the front end apart. I don't know what I'm going to take apart yet. I haven't really decided. I'm going to get the heads off today, drain the transmission fluid, and get the transmission all disconnected. So when I have some friends here this weekend, we can get the hood off and get the engine out. And I gotta go buy a new engine stand. I don't know where mine is. Yeah, I could use their tools, but this is a winter project. It's not a get it done tomorrow project. So I'm just gonna, I went around and broke all the head bolts on this head loose, so now I'm just gonna undo all but one, and then I'll break the parting surface, and then I'll leave this one right here in a little bit, thread it in. So, but the rest of the bolts we'll remove, and I'll keep them in order, so if they're different, well, obviously these lower ones are going to be different than the upper ones. Maybe not, I don't know. We'll see, won't we? When we get them out. I believe the lower ones are shorter. Alright, let me get all these out and I'll get the head off. Got the heads off, and really only one cylinder has rust in it, and it's just surface rust. And on the good cylinder here, there is 0 ring ridge there. I can just run, nothing catches my finger, so I might, after I get it apart, hone the cylinders and measure the bores, and if they're not in need of reboring, I'll put new rings, whatever pistons need to be replaced. That cylinder has a smidge of surface rust on it, so the cylinder and that cylinder each have just a, and I mean that's really minimal. It looks more in the camera than what's really there. I mean, that's still mostly silver cylinder wall. So I suspect the pistons that are stuck are these two. I'll just horse with them. I'm going to wipe them out. The head gasket's on, so you see, you know, like over here, it looks like a cylinder sleeve, but it's not. It's just the head gasket. They're standard pistons. This engine I don't think has ever been apart. So I think it's completely 100% savable. It's actually better than what I expected. Usually when they're just rusted like that, you can break them free and turn them. These are the heads. This is a cylinder that has a surface rust, and you can see some surface rust, and that valve is stuck. And this was the one with the push rod that was worn, and that valve is stuck too. This side over here, a little bit of, that's like carbon and a little bit of corrosion, but mostly I think carbon. This was from the air of leaded gas, and you get lead caused carbon buildup. That's why they took it out of the gas. It actually would coat between the valve and the seat, so when it would close, it wouldn't hammer. It would give a little cushion, and they had to harden the seats harder when they took the lead out of gas. You know, it's an additive. It's not part of the gasoline. And the lead caused carbon buildup back in that area. You'd have to change your spark plugs, you know, every 25,000 miles or so, because they'd be so heavily carboned up from the lead. And now with unleaded gas, you don't have that issue. So people tell me these bolts break. So maybe I'll put a little heat on the head there, on the flange, before I try and extract them to save breaking them. Because I think I'm going to send the heads out and have them rebuilt with hard valve seats. We gave the cylinders a quick light wipe out. Let's have another look at them. And again, this is the one that I think is stuck. The rest of them, the bores look pretty darn good. The lifter valley is fairly clean. You know, I'll look at the lifters and the cam. If the lifters are concaved, I'll replace them in the cam. You never put new lifters on an old cam, or a new cam on old lifters. It just wipes them out. You always replace them together. That cylinder, I don't think that one's bad enough to be stuck. I think that cylinder there is pretty good. That one has some tiny bit of rust up on the top part, but I don't think that where the piston is, it's fairly clean. I think that that piston that is stuck is this one right here. And I'll horse with it a little bit, see if I can get the pistons to budge. I'm going to start, I got to get my drain pans. I got to do some running around today. I got to get my drain pans from Romeo. They're up in my dad's garage, my big ones, so I can drain the transmission sump. And I got to either find my engine stand or buy a new one. And we'll get this engine transmission assembly out. And I don't know, I was kind of thinking if I took the radiator core support off and the bumper, and because I got to take all that off, paint that panel, take the bumper off, and take the grill out to paint the core support, and what little extra effort it is to take the core support out, I think I might just do it, and then I can paint it off the car, and the car will come out nicer, I think. So there's a chance, I'm not saying 100% sure that's coming out. I mean, it is a bit of work to get the support out, and I could pull a whole front clip, but I don't have the people here to lift that heavy clip. I could take the fenders off, but I don't think I'm going to. I think I'm just going to take the hood off to paint, and we'll see if I take the front end, the core support out. I'm definitely taking the grill and the bumper and the headlights, and all that stuff will for sure 100% come off. But first things first, let's get this engine running. So let me do what I need to get the stuff to get it out and on a stand. Nothing more awesome than when you buy a car and it comes with tools. Yeah, a little rusty. But hey, I'll throw it in the bead blast cabinet with other components I got here to go in the cabinet. All these brackets and stuff will get bead blasted and painted up, and everything on the engine is going to look like new when I'm done. Let me show you what other tools I got. And we got a pair of pliers, and they actually still work, so maybe I'll throw these in the blast cabinet too. And what the heck, nothing wrong with them. A little rust, that'll clean off. So we got some tools with the car, made the purchase even better. And the convertible top boot I folded out yesterday, not a darn thing wrong, just dirty, just needs a little cleaning up, and some of the foam where it goes over the mechanism is deteriorated, so it just needs some new foam in there. That boot is perfectly fine. Doesn't look like it's ever been used. So anyway, we'll get back on the car. I took a piece of sandpaper, and pretty much all the rust just cleans right off, just in a few, it was like 3 or 4, just swipes around, I just kind of went and that's what it looks like. So then I took a little thing and scraped around the rings between the piston and the ring, and sprayed some penetrant in. This is the stuff I use. I like this stuff, and I'm just gonna horse with it until I pull the motor. This week, it's Sunday, probably I'll pull the motor, and in the meantime I might just horse around with it a little bit and maybe see if I can get it to turn. I don't know if this will show it happening or not, but this is what I'm doing. Just my plastic hammer and just going around the piston like this. And I can see that piston jiggling enough to where you can see things moving in there. And I just keep spraying penetrant and just keep tapping it, and maybe it'll eventually free up the seized rings. It may be more than one piston, but the rings are stuck. But that's what I'm doing, and I'm just going to putz with it. Well, that paid off. The engine is unstuck. I can rotate the crank now, and you can see the front and that third piston back where at TDC. It's still stiff, but it turns, so I'll be able to get it all apart. So just tapping it with some, you could see the pistons just faintly moving. You could see the penetrant jiggling around those grooves. I cleaned those grooves out, like I say, so the penetrant could get right down in the rings, make sure there was no carbon or crud in there. And then I just took my black block and lightly tapped it. You don't want to damage your pistons or your bearings or anything. And I used a piece of hardwood. It was a piece of hockey stick. And I just lightly tapped around, just went around the piston and here, but mostly just around it, just lightly tap, 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 tap. And that works the penetrant down in there, and I could see the, like I say, I could see a little bit of movement in the piston and the bore, and that freed up the piston movement, I think, was enough to free up the rings, and the engine now turns. So I am going to take it out, take it apart, hone the cylinders, measure them, and go from there. If it needs reboring, I'll have it rebored. If it's still within factory specs, I'll re-ring it, clean up the pistons, re-ring it, and obviously still going to put cam, lifters, timing chain, bearings, oil pump, you know. But I can save $1,000 if I don't have to rebore it. But if I have to rebore it, I will. I'm not going to cut corners. If it, you know, needs boring, it's going to get done. I don't have the tools here to do the measuring, so I got to get them from my brother, and we'll do some measuring of the bores. Are you watching? Yeah, it's a little tight, but it turns. So we got a unstuck motor. I'm going to turn it a little bit more, stop it in different positions than what it was when it was. That's about, I think that piston was on TDC and this piston was on TDC. But just so you can see, there we go. We got a unstuck motor. It is stiff, but it turns. Just want to add this to the end of the video. If any of my viewers know where there's, you know, salvage yard that has older cars with this, like with good door handles and stuff, let me know. I'd like to replace these with some really nice used ones. I know of a salvage yard in Oklahoma I dealt with in the past. I actually got the radiator for the Catalina from them, so I might give them a try. But there is, you know, 2 or 3 little odds and ends. I'd like to replace these. You know, the Ford is hardly legible, and I think these might be reproduction, but some of that reproduction stuff's garbage. I'd rather have original stuff. So if I can find these that are in really nice, clean shape on a, you know, a parts car or something. If somebody knows where to get this kind of stuff, you know, I just don't see anything on eBay like door handles and stuff. And I need a window regulator for that door. It feels like the teeth on the crank mechanism are stripped, because you can feel it and it tries to move the window. The track is not, it's not off the track, and I can't push it down manually. And the wing window regulator doesn't work either, but I suspect the parts for that are down in the bottom of the door, and I can fix that, put that back together and fix it. I might even be able to fix the window regulator, but you know, sometimes it's just easier to swap them out. And one of the guys told me where to go to look for padded dash. So that's about the only thing in the interior that's really need a replacement, is that padded dash. So if anyone knows, you know, of a good part source for these 60s Fords, leave a comment below. Greatly appreciated. So again, if you like my video, hit the like button. If you want to see this car get restored, just subscribe to my channel. I'll be working on it quite a bit. I won't work on it every day, but when I have free days, probably 3 days a week anyway, or, you know, 3 or 4 days out of the week, I'll get some stuff done on it. And, you know, one day I might not feel like working on the engine. Maybe I'll work on something else, you know, but it's all got to be done, so I'll just putz away with it. It's, you know, just what I like to do. But that putzing with the little block of wood and plastic mallet paid off. We got a stuck engine unstuck. So again, thank you for watching my videos.